We live in a world obsessed with positivity, with manifesting our dream lives, with vibrating higher and higher. But what happens when spirituality becomes a way to bypass reality, a way to numb ourselves from the messy, complicated truth of being human? You meditate for 2 hours a day, yet your bank account is still empty. You might be spiritually drugged. In this video, we're diving deep into the 9 signs of spiritual escapism, exploring how our desire for peace and purpose can sometimes lead us down a path of denial and delusion. One of the sneakiest signs that you might be using spirituality as a way to avoid reality is the way you talk about your emotions. It's subtle, yet pervasive, and often goes unnoticed, even by those who are deeply committed to their spiritual path. We all develop our own ways of coping with difficult feelings. Some of us turn to meditation, yoga, or other mindfulness practices to find peace and balance. But when we start using spiritual language to bypass authentic emotional experiences, we're essentially putting a pretty cosmic band-aid over a wound that needs real attention. This can prevent us from truly healing and growing. Think about it. Have you ever caught yourself saying things like, "I'm not angry, I'm just clearing karma," or perhaps, "I'm not sad, I'm just releasing old energy," or "It's okay, it's all part of my soul contract"? These phrases might sound enlightened, but they can sometimes mask our true feelings. And look, there's nothing inherently wrong with believing in karma or soul contracts. These beliefs can provide comfort and a sense of purpose. But when these beliefs become a way to avoid feeling our feelings, to bypass the vulnerability of human experience, that's when we need to get curious. We need to ask ourselves why we're avoiding these emotions, because here's the thing. No amount of spiritual bypassing will ever make our difficult emotions disappear. They don't just vanish because we wish them away. They're still there, lurking beneath the surface, waiting for the moment they can no longer be ignored. And when that moment comes, it often feels overwhelming. True healing, true growth comes from leaning into our whole experience, the good, the bad, and the really, really uncomfortable. It's about embracing our humanity in all its messy, beautiful complexity. We crave a sense of control in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. And in that craving, it's easy to get caught up in the allure of energy work, of measuring our vibrations, of quantifying our spiritual progress. We start to believe that if we can just get our chakra scores high enough, if we can just manifest the perfect reality, then we'll finally be safe, secure, and in control. We become obsessed with energy measurement tools, checking our chakra scores daily, as if they were stock prices. But here's the thing. Obsessing over these metrics without taking practical action for change is like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. True spirituality isn't about achieving some perfect state of energetic balance. It's about showing up for our lives with all of their complexities and imperfections. We humans are hardwired for connection. From the moment we are born, we seek out bonds with those around us. It's in our nature to look for relationships that provide us with a sense of security and belonging. We long for belonging, for guidance, for someone to show us the way. This desire often leads us to seek out mentors, leaders, and spiritual guides who we believe can illuminate our path. And in our search for spiritual wisdom, it's easy to fall into the trap of idolizing gurus, of believing that someone else holds all the answers. We may start to think that these individuals possess a kind of ultimate truth that we ourselves are incapable of finding. We flock to workshops and retreats, eager to soak up the wisdom of these enlightened beings. We listen intently, take copious notes, and try to absorb every word they say, hoping it will lead us to enlightenment. And in the process, we often surrender our own inner knowing, our own capacity for critical thinking. We might start to doubt our own insights and intuition, believing that the guru's perspective is superior. We tell ourselves they're the expert. They must know better than I do. We place them on a pedestal, convinced that they have it all figured out. They've got it all figured out. We become enamored with their teachings, their charisma, and their apparent wisdom. But what happens when the guru's teachings stop resonating? What do we do when we start to see inconsistencies, or when their advice no longer feels right for us? What happens when their humanness, their flaws, inevitably come to light? We might feel disillusioned, betrayed, or even lost. The truth is, no one, not even the most enlightened master, can solve all of our problems or hand us the keys to the spiritual kingdom. Each of us must walk our own path and face our own challenges. True spiritual growth is an inside job. It requires deep introspection, self-awareness, and a willingness to confront our own shadows. It requires us to cultivate our own inner compass, our own discernment. We must learn to trust ourselves and our own inner wisdom. So, by all means, seek out teachers and mentors who inspire you. Let them guide you, but do not let them define you. But always remember that the ultimate guru is within. Your true guide is your own heart, your own soul, and your own inner light. We live in a culture that worships at the altar of happiness. Everywhere we look, we're encouraged to chase after joy and bliss, as if they are the ultimate goals of life. We're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us to be positive, to think happy thoughts, to focus on the good. Social media is filled with inspirational quotes and motivational posters that urge us to keep smiling, no matter what. And while there's certainly value in cultivating optimism and gratitude, the relentless pursuit of positivity can actually be incredibly damaging. It can create a pressure to always appear happy, even when we're struggling inside. When we deny or suppress our negative emotions, we're essentially telling ourselves that a huge part of the human experience is wrong, bad, and unacceptable. This can lead to feelings of shame and isolation, making it even harder to cope with our true emotions. True spirituality isn't about denying the darkness, it's about embracing the full spectrum of our emotions and experiences. It's about finding balance and understanding that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. It's about learning to hold space for all of it. The light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, the peace and the pain. By acknowledging and accepting our negative emotions, we can begin to heal and grow. So, the next time you find yourself feeling down, anxious, or just plain old grumpy, resist the urge to slap on a fake smile and pretend you're okay. Instead, give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling and to express it honestly. Now remember, true strength comes not from pretending we're always okay, but from having the courage to embrace our whole selves, imperfections and all. By doing so, we can cultivate a deeper sense of authenticity and connection with ourselves and others. We all long to live lives of meaning and purpose. We yearn to discover our unique gifts and share them with the world. And in our quest to find our soul mission, it's easy to fall into the trap of using spirituality as a way to escape from the challenges of everyday life. We quit our jobs, end relationships, and make drastic life changes, all in the name of following our calling. True purpose isn't always found on some mountaintop retreat or through some mystical experience. It's often discovered in the mundane, in the everyday acts of courage, compassion, and service. So by all means, explore your passions, pursue your dreams, and listen to the whispers of your soul, but don't let the pursuit of your soul mission become a way to avoid the real work of being human. We've covered 5 signs, but there are more lurking beneath the surface. What other signs of spiritual escapism have you noticed in yourself or others? Can you guess the remaining 4 signs we'll be exploring? Pause the video for a moment and jot down your thoughts in the comments below. One sign that often gets overlooked is the tendency to outsource our intuition. We become so reliant on external sources for guidance, tarot cards, astrology readings, psychic predictions, that we lose touch with our own inner knowing. It's as if we've given away our own internal compass, convinced that someone else has a clearer view of our path than we do. But here's the thing, you are your own greatest oracle. Deep down, you know the answers. The key is to cultivate a relationship with your intuition, to learn how to listen to that still small voice within. So by all means explore different divination tools if they call to you, but don't let them become a crutch. Another sneaky sign of spiritual escapism is spiritual materialism. This is where we attach our self-worth to external markers of spiritual progress. The retreats we attend, the crystals we collect, the mala beads we wear. We become collectors of spiritual experiences, always chasing the next high, the next profound insight, the next Instagram-worthy spiritual moment. But true spirituality isn't a fashion statement or a status symbol. It's about the inner transformation, the deep work of the heart, the commitment to living a life of authenticity, compassion, and service. Remember, true spirituality is not about what you have, it's about who you are becoming. This final sign is perhaps the most insidious of all spiritual superiority. This is where we start to see ourselves as somehow better than or more evolved than those who haven't embraced our particular brand of spirituality. We become judgmental, preachy, and self-righteous, convinced that we've found the one true path to enlightenment. True spirituality is about connection, not separation. It's about recognizing the divine spark that resides within every living being, regardless of their beliefs, their background, or their level of spiritual wokeness. So if you find yourself looking down on others, judging their spiritual practices or lack thereof, it's time for a reality check. Remember, true spirituality is about unity, not superiority. So there you have it, the 9 signs that your meditation practice might have morphed into a form of spiritual escapism. The journey inward, the quest for self-awareness and wholeness, is a lifelong adventure. It's messy, it's beautiful, and it requires us to confront the totality of who we are, the light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, the peace and the pain. Did you find yourself nodding along to any of these signs? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's create a space for honest conversation and support. If you find our information useful, please consider donate a cup of coffee money to our PayPal account so we can produce more valuable videos. And if you're ready to dive deeper into aligning your environment with your spiritual goals, consider booking a tailor-made consultation with us. Thanks for watching.